Good morning, boys and girls, and it's Tuesday already. I hope you had a lovely St. Bridget's Day yesterday. And as you know, yesterday was also the start of Children's Mental Health Week. So I hope you give yourself a little 10-minute break and maybe listen to your favourite song if you got the chance to. Today, for Children's Mental Health Week, I'm going to send you two songs. One of the songs I want you to listen to the lyrics of, that's the words of the song. And the second one I want you to get up and dance to, if you have the time. But before all that, we have to do a little bit of work, don't we? So let's get started. And as I said yesterday, we are going to begin every day by writing our date. So today is Tuesday, as I said, and we know we're into February now. We're into the 2nd of February. So today's date is Tuesday, the 2nd of February, 2021. That's Tuesday, the 2nd of February, 2021. So once we have written our date, then we move on to our spellings. So I'll call them out and you say them after me, all right? Help. Have. He's. That's short for he is. He's going to the shop. Hide. Half. Here. Who. Whose. Who's that? Happy and having. And of course we write the words as always into the column, our Tuesday column today. Moving on to our sounds and focus. And just a reminder that this is a double sheet, but you are only doing this sheet this week, okay? The h sound. Question 3 asks you to write contractions. Now, I'm not going to read all this information to you because I think by the end of it you'd be more confused. So I'm just going to explain it to you myself. Now, contractions are something that we probably use a lot, but we don't realise we're using it. Contractions are used when you want to shorten down what you are saying. So, for example, we have the words here is. And you might say to someone, here is my pencil. Or you might shorten it down and say, here's my pencil. So you've put here and is together. And instead of saying here is, you've said here's. But how would we spell here's? Well, you would bring these two words together. Now you would keep all of the letters that are in here, but in is you would take out the I, and instead of the I you would put in what's called an apostrophe. And we've seen apostrophes before, boys and girls. So how would your new word look? Well, it would look like this. So it's now one word instead of two words. And it's spelled H-E-R-E, so all of here, then the apostrophe instead of the I, and then S. So here is becomes here's. Here is my pencil, here's my pencil. Now let's try another one. The next one then is who is. Who is at the door? Now you might say, who's at the door? So you put the who and the is together. So again, we take off the I and we put in an apostrophe instead. So who is becomes whose. So let's write it below. And there it is, whose. Who's at the door? Now, boys and girls, sometimes when you make it a contraction, you have to take away more than one letter. So when we were using is, we just had to take off the I there and then take off the I there. When you're using the word has, you have to take off two letters. So, for example, with he has been outside. You might say, he's been outside, short for he has. And in that case, you would take off the H and the A and replace those two letters with one apostrophe. Okay, so sometimes an apostrophe can replace two letters and sometimes just one. So how would our new word look? how would we write he's? Just like this, he's. He's been outside. The next one then, who has? Who has been in my house? Who has been eating my porridge? So we could take these two away, replace them with the apostrophe, and say, who's been eating my porridge? And you would write it like this, short for who has. Now you might notice that who is shortened down and who has is the same. It's exactly the same. Sometimes the apostrophe is replacing the I in is, and sometimes it's replacing the HA in has. You'll know by reading the sentence which one it means. But who is and who has, when they're made into contractions, are exactly the same. So don't think you made a mistake if you're writing the same thing twice in your sounds in focus work. So on your page then, for here is, you're going to be writing here's, then whose, its, and then the second row, he's, she's, and whose. And you're going to fill in the blanks with some of those words. So you're going to be putting he's, she's, whose, etc. in these spaces here. And the first letter of each word is there to give you a little clue as well. All right. So, for example, something beginning with H, something mum. Now we've got two words that start with H, here's and he's. When you change them, they'll be here's and he's. He's mum? No, that doesn't make sense, does it? Here's mum. That one would make sense. Here's mum. And then you fill in the other blanks with the words you've made as well. Moving on to our literacy then, and we are working again to consolidate our knowledge of compound words. Consolidate just means to make sure that we understand how and where to use compound words. And as we remember, compound words are made by joining two words together. So they've given you an example there. Key and hole becomes keyhole. And they ask you then to pick words from the box, this is the box over here, to finish the compound words below. So you've got words here, and you've got the first part of them, but we need another word to turn it into a compound word. And you have to choose it from the box here. So let's look at the words in the box first to make sure we understand them, all right? So we have paper, writing, cloth, bow, table, way, bird, worm, hog, that's not a word we use very often, hog, and cup. Down here then are the words that will be joined up with those words. We've got news, real, dish, rain, time, hand, then over here, lady, wood, hedge, and butter. So let's look at the first one, news, over here. What could we join to news to make a compound word? Let's look at our words in the box. News cup, nope. News worm, nope. News cloth, nope. What could it be? I don't want to give you any clues, boys and girls. No clues at all. When you finish those compound words, then you'll see there's a sentence below that says, use these compound words in a sentence. Now, I don't want you to do that. That will be too much for you to do, considering all the other work we're doing. So leave that out. You don't have to use these words in a sentence. However, I do want you to do this extension activity, which asks you to write down as many compound words as you can, beginning with these words. So the first word is every, and they've come up with the first compound word for you, everybody. Can you think of other words beginning with every? Then any. Can you think of a compound word, 2 or 3, maybe 4 compound words beginning with any? Anybody, for example. Under then, can you think of some compound words beginning with under. Then we have our maths, and for the next 3 days, for Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, we will be working on and learning, I'm sure, and remembering the 4 times tables. Now you'll be very familiar with this times tables activity booklet because we have used it for other tables. Now, for tomorrow, or today, sorry, I want you to do these 2 pages. So I want you to write out the times tables here in the first page. And make sure you don't accidentally start by saying 4 times 0 is 4. That's a common mistake. We know that 4 times 0 is 0. Because if you get the first one wrong, it kind of sends you wrong the whole way down. Okay? So make sure you start with the 0. Then over here, we are counting backwards in 4s. So all of these are different answers in the 4 times tables. And you are trying to count backwards in 4s, taking 4 away each time. So you'll see we have 40 here, and then when we took 4 away, we ended up with 36. And then you're going to take 4 more away. So you'd put 36 in your head and think, right, I have to count back 4 more. So 36 in my head, 35, 34, 33, 32. 32 would be my answer. So each row is a new row. So once you finish that one, then you go on to a new row then. It's a different row, okay? So sometimes you will find that the first number is missing. How on earth can you find it? Because you need that one to take 4 away to get to the next one. Well, if you take 4 away in this direction to get to each new number, you can also work backwards and add 4 back on to find a number, all right? So if you're working in this direction, you're taking away 4, counting down. But if you need help finding one at the start, you can count this direction, adding 4 back on again to get you back to the start, all right? So that is our written work for today, boys and girls. Please continue to do your reading as well. Some of you are really flying through accelerated reading. Really, really excellent work. I have been talking to Miss McArdle, who helps to run the accelerated reading program, and she is so pleased with so many of our P4s. Now, there's still a few of you who aren't reading, so you really, really need to focus on that. In fact, I don't care if you put your written work aside for a day to read, if you haven't read up until now, because that's how important it is for you to read. The more you read, the better you become at your literacy and your writing, all right? Also, Some Dog is always there to help you, but perhaps today it would be better to go on to hit the button to practice those 4 times tables, all right? And continue to use it throughout the week. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.